Hi everybody, it's once again me, Mr. Slamtilt, your host with the most. I wish I could say something funny like Elvira, because she says some really funny things when she's hosting her little TV show. So this is Scared Stiff, Bally's Scared Stiff. Now in the last video you saw the very latest update of this game, and I've since spent another couple of days on it, but overall I've been working on this particular version of the game for about a decade. It was a mod originally, and then I just took it over and I rewrote the entire code, all new audio design, new features, this, that, and the other. And it is absolutely spectacular. One of my favorite games, and probably the greatest Halloween pinball game you could ever play. Because it kind of got that horror vibe, but it's also funny, and it's kind of a little bit sassy, a little bit sexy. For a pinball game to have all those elements and just to sort of create something which is really, really fun to play. I mean, you step up to this thing and you're just going to have a great time, no matter how long you stay at the table, because it's just so crammed full of stuff. There is a lot of Elvira stuff out there if you look for it. And I'm finding new stuff every day. I've just found another movie that I hadn't seen, so I'm working my way through that and adding quotes from that movie into this game. It is a terrible movie. It's bloody awful, but the quotes are fantastic. So let's just have a little look around. Oh, hello. So this is a little bit of work I've done on the room wall. I always put posters on there. I can put anything on there. And Vincent Price, of course, and this cabinet. And I've changed the cabinet artwork as well, which has her sort of lounging around on the floor. That can't be a very comfortable position for a woman. That's not very good for your spine. And any opportunity I've got to show off her boobies, I will take that opportunity. And I found a lot of fan art which I've used for these apron cards, and there's no reason to write rules on there anymore because nobody reads them. So all I do is I have a NotePay free play card, and then I've got like a fake number on there, which you see on other sort of official games. They have like a product number. So that's the apron done. The playfield artwork is mostly unchanged, although I have added new inserts. All these inserts across the whole table have all been redone, including the respelling of Boney. I think Boney should be spelled B-O-N-E-Y. On the original game it's B-O-N-Y, but I think it should be B-O-N-E-Y. And I've changed that to Stay Tuned. On the original it just says Ball Save, which is quite boring. It could have been Stayed Glued. She says Stayed Glued a lot, but I went with Stayed Tuned. So yeah, all the inserts are much brighter now. They really ping at the player. There's a lot of things you can do in Future Pinball now to make the lights not only change color, but they can be really bright as you want them to be. There's a lot that's changed with Future Pinball's lighting over the years, and it is absolutely spectacular. And these flashes flash, and they illuminate the little space around them. So when all of the flashes are flashing, the whole table is illuminated in red. It looks fantastic, and there's 2 extra flashes on the back wall there. I'm not sure if they're on the original. I actually have this game on my PS Vita. Yes, I still have a PS Vita, and because I've got Pinball Arcade on my PS Vita, and the difference between the two is just completely, it's night and day. It really is. I've just changed absolutely everything in the game. Although it is very familiar, everything has been updated to make it much more fun and exciting. So first of all, let's go to the top of the table, and you'll see this little television. Oh my goodness me. Now that is a 14-inch color TV. The kind of TV that I had as a child when I was growing up. In fact, I had a 14-inch black and white TV, and then I got a color TV sometime in the early 80s. But that thing plays clips from very classic films like Dracula, like Frankenstein, as well as Young Frankenstein, some comedy movies. And it plays clips of Elvira, of course. It adds animations and graphics. So it's a very useful thing to have, and it also jumps around when you make the skill shot. So that's a new addition, and it adds so much character to the game. You can do a lot with it. I know it's a tiny little screen, but that's the purpose of it, because in the olden days, we didn't have LCDs or these big plasma screens. We had little tiny screens in the corner of our living rooms. I mean, you need binoculars to see the screen in the 70s. I mean, I had a TV which You had to reach across and turn the knobs when you wanted to change a channel. There was no remote controls in those days. So that's kind of like why I like that so much, because it's one of those, you've got to reach and switch the knob to turn the channel, which was hilarious back in the day. So that's a new addition. Other additions are, as you come down here, there is a new feature here where if the ball drops here into this little scoop behind the main sort of spider scoop, well, it's actually a kick out. It starts a feature called Elvira's Box. It's like a mystery feature where you get rewards, but you also get some funny stuff as well. And I just keep adding more and more stuff to that. So you'll get the usual things like ball saver, extender. You'll get like a slow spin feature, which can slow down the spin, so it makes it easier to pick the thing that you want, and also auto spin, which will automatically spin to the next highly lucrative award, which is 2 new features in this game, which don't feature on the original. So there's all kinds of new awards, as well as silly things that you can get, like a banana and a jockstrap and things like that. And Elvira has the appropriate thing to say, because what I've done is I've got so many quotes from Elvira, I just had to find a place in the game to stick them. And there's a reason why in the last video you heard the village people when you get to the boogie, which is this guy here. Because she says the quote, I found it in a film, and she says, who listens to the village people anymore? So I had to put the village people in to match the quote that I got from that film. But the boogie mode will have many, many songs, not just the village people, but there are going to be many tracks that this guy will boogie down to. On the original, there's only one piece of music, of course. Another funny thing is the skill shot, which plays TV ads. At the moment, I've only got one TV ad in there, which is the most famous TV ad of all time, which is the Teach the World to Sing, the Coke ad from the 70s. So what happens is when you get the skill shot, randomly, she will say commercial time, and it'll play the ad, and then she'll smash the TV. Now, I'm going to add more and more ads on that. So it won't just be the Coke ad, it'll be lots of other very famous, very classic ads from the 70s and the 80s that will play on that TV, just to make this game fun to play, you know, because when you play a pinball game, if you play it enough times, you're going to hear everything over and over again. So the idea is to add as much content as possible to the point where it's almost overflowing, where if a person played this game 100 times, they wouldn't hear everything, and that's what I'm aiming for. Other things that I've added as well, and by the way, that thing there just ejects back to the right flipper. It doesn't eject onto the ramp like it does on the original game. I just didn't think it needed to. It just comes back beautifully to the right flipper. And the rules are different for pretty much everything. So, for instance, Monster Lab now is you've got to hit them a certain number of times, and then when they're activated, you have a creature in the lab, and every time you hit the bumpers, you give it an electric charge, and the creature mutates into a monster. So there's like a story development with Monster Lab now that wasn't on the original. You just scored points on the original. The crate one is a 2-ball multi-ball where the monster escapes from the crate, and then he appears in one of these hidden shots. So you've got to hit the shot that's lit to capture the monster. Then you've got to hit the crate again to put the monster back into the crate, and then you've got to hit these targets to nail the crate shut. And then you've got to hit the crate once again to get the super jackpot. And when you've done all of that, then it lights the insert. So each one of these has a story now, rather than just sort of chasing points. I wanted to add a little bit of story. And of course, the Scared Stiff main feature here is much harder to get to in this game. I think on the original game, you can get to Scared Stiff every single time. Even an amateur player can get to Scared Stiff on the original game, but on my game, it's much, much harder to light all of these 6 inserts. It's going to be quite a challenge to get to Scared Stiff. In fact, in this latest update, I haven't got to it yet, because there's always one of these lights that I can't light, and I think it's the crate, which is where you have to complete that whole process of nailing the monster back into the crate, which is very difficult to do, to light that insert. So that's quite a challenge. So the spin thing here is pretty much the same as it was on the original game, only the actual inserts will light up as the thing spins around. And like I said, you can slow them down, or you can add an auto spin function. The DMD is mostly the same. I have added extra things because I can do that, and I still think the DMD is the very best display on a pinball machine. I don't like the LCDs really. I think they just put too much crap up there. The DMD was always the very best. And what I expected was, after DMD, I thought they were just going to create like a color DMD. I thought that was the next natural progression for DMD was a color DMD. But they skipped over that and went straight to LCD. So they skipped a generation. I think, yeah, the DMD is certainly the best display on a pinball. It always has been, and it always will be. I think even though I use LCDs myself, you can't beat an DMD for providing the information that you need in milliseconds, which is what you need, because when you're playing a pinball game, you're like this, and then you do that, and then you're like this, and then you do that, and you're like this. You're literally looking at the screen, the DMD, for about 400 or 500 milliseconds, nearly half a second. Depends on how boring the game is. If you've got a really boring game, then you'll be glaring at this thing for hours. But if you've got a super interesting game, this is where you're going to be looking. What else have I done? Well, all the audio has been completely redone. There's some 2 or 3 quotes from the original game in here. But most of the stuff that you hear from Elvira is all brand new. I haven't used AI. It's from TV shows, it's from movies, it's from TV show appearances, interviews, you name it. Anything I could find is in this game. Plus, I've added 3 music tracks. In fact, I've added 4 music tracks from Elvira herself, from one of her albums. These are drop targets now. These were stand-up targets on the original game. Now, I don't like stand-up targets. If you ever see stand-up targets on a modern pinball machine, it's because they've just saved money, okay? Nobody wants stand-up targets on a pinball machine. Drop targets are the best option because they're fun to hit and they go down, and when they go down, there's a rubber behind them, and that adds to the lateral flow of a pinball, which means the side to side. But if they're just stand-up targets, they're very boring to hit, and there's very little lateral flow. So drop targets are always the best alternative, unless it's a single. There's a single stand-up target there, which I have left for telepathetic power. I'm sure there's something else. Oh yeah, there's 2 flashes underneath the apron as well that mimic these bubbly green things, as well as adding red to even further saturate the playfield in sort of a red glow. This thing here does lots of things when it's not lit and the ball goes in there, because the ball goes in there quite a lot. I've added a whole bunch of funny things in there. In the last video, you heard her on the toilet. She pulls jokes on you, or pulls pranks on you. She'll do a fake tilt. There's all kinds of things that happen when that is hit, when it's not lit. Lots and lots of funny things, which again, I'm adding to all the time. When I think of a funny gag, I stick it in there. Deadheads have been improved as well. There's different quotes now for each one. I think on the original, some of the quotes were quite lame, and I didn't like them, so I've replaced them all with much better quotes. I mean, this game it's a very sexy game, but it has more of Elvira's true personality in it. The original Bally game is more like for children. It's very, very tepid and quite lame, actually. But I wanted to have the true personality of Elvira in this game. So it's a true personality as she appeared in her TV show and in the movies. So it's like I said, it's very sassy, and I'm still working on it, and I hope to release it on Halloween this year if I get those 10,000 subscribers. Of course, it all depends on you guys. It's out of my control. So like and subscribe, and tell all your friends to subscribe so you can get your hands on this. From now until Halloween, I will be working only on horror games, because there's quite a few that I've done. And I need to show off those updates. And if I get those 10,000 subscribers, I'll release the whole lot, all of them, including Evil Dead and Return of the Living Dead and Beetlejuice. All will be released if I get those 10,000 subscribers. So, like I said, the ball is in your court. Right, I shall leave you now, and I shall get back to working on Scared Stiff. Toodles!